I am speaking directly to men in midlife in this video. Midlife meaning men in their 40s, 50s, or 60s. And in this video, in this training, actually, this is probably for you if you can relate to any of these. Are you feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or unfulfilled? Do you feel that the best years are behind you and you're struggling to find purpose and joy? Today, we are going to address these feelings head on, and I'm going to share some tools to navigate this challenging time in life. Let's go through the agenda together here. So first of all, what to expect in this training. The top 10 concerns for most men in midlife, aka why midlife sucks. The top 10 things men in midlife want. One important step that has helped me and many of my clients, men around me, and maybe this is more important than ever here when we are in midlife. And how to get help with these two options. So I'm going to share that to you also, so you'll know that by the end of the video. And there's free help, how to access our updated midlife assessment in our free community for men in midlife. And there's paid help. Join our newly launched Brotherhood for Men in Midlife with trainings, teachings, brotherhood, and life goals. So before we dive into these things, who am I? My name is Michael Pluszek. I live in Copenhagen in Denmark in north of Europe. I am soon 52 years old. My adult life has been business, helping other people grow their businesses. And then I became a business owner myself in 2012, and I grew businesses, and I grew them very fast and very good. And I've been a coach and a mentor since 2012, helping other people with their businesses and also with personal development. And a few years ago, I had a big crash in my life. I nearly ended it. And I made another video about that. Then I woke up and I was kind of like, what's going on now? And that's kind of like, okay, welcome to midlife. And now I'm speaking about this and I'm helping other men with this. And actually also I want to say, even though it's not in my notes here, that I am a father. My daughter is soon to be 14 years old. I live with her alone. And I learned a lot about relationships from two disasters, I would say, of delayed relationships. I even made a video of that also. So I'll make sure there are links for this here. Then we can move on. So if you want to make this world a better place like I want to, and also that you like what I speak about here, I invite you to bring me and the rest of us some love and like this video, and also subscribe to the channel, and to make sure that you see when another video is released, hit the bell icon. Important note, and I was just putting this in before I actually finished the agenda here. Midlife. This is some data that I found, and there's also, like you can see where from. Recent data indicates a significant rise in suicide rates among older men, particularly at those aged 55 to 74, with the rate generally increasing with age. Men aged 85 and older have the highest suicide rate of any age group recorded. About suicide deaths for every 100,000 people. This trend underscores the growing concerns about mental health and the need for targeted support and intervention strategies for older men. And I share this because I know what I'm speaking about, because I experienced it myself and I talk with a lot of men, and I understand the complexities of this part of our life. I also say it because I got a disclaimer here, very important for me. I'm not a doctor. I am not anything at all beside what I just shared with you. I'm sharing from my own heart. I'm sharing from my own knowledge, experience, and also from my research around these things, because I'm very passionate about it, and from the men that I speak with. let's go into it here. Midlife complexity. Before we dive into the top 10 things, let's talk about why midlife can be so complex. The root of the word complex comes from the Latin complex, meaning interwoven. This means that my picture of this is like there's a lot of things going on all our life. A lot of things is going on, but in midlife, something very, let's say, interesting, but for some it's very painful, and for some it's suffering because of all what's going on in midlife. I'm going to dive into those 10 things, but complexity, very important to understand. Many aspects of life are deeply interwoven. Woven, that's an interesting word for a Danish guy. Career, relationships, health, finances, personal identity, and more. I am sharing all of these things with you in this training, and also what helped me and clients. This complexity can make midlife feel overwhelming. That's one point of it, and it's very. I share this training because it's an important part for many men that in midlife it is overwhelming, and I felt that too, and especially because of all what's kind of catching up to us in midlife. That's one part of it, and the other part of it, the other side of this, is that it's also, and I hope this inspires you, and I hope you will follow me, and I'll share my learnings and stuff that helped me. It's also an opportunity for growth and transformation in this part of our life. In this part of our life, it can be very fulfilling to step into these things. Did that make sense? I hope so. So let's dive into each part of the training here. So I'm going to share with you the top 10 concerns for most men in midlife. And then on the other hand, I'm going to share the 10 things that most men in midlife really want. So the top 10 concerns, and this is from different surveys and my own research here. So feeling trapped in an unfulfilling career. That's just me pausing here. Lacking a sense of purpose and direction. Pausing again. Battling declining health and fitness. Facing financial insecurity and pressures. Navigating strained or failing relationships. Fearing the inevitability, squeeze me for my language here, of aging. Shouldering overwhelming family responsibilities. Experiencing a disconnection from passions and hobbies. Struggling with self-identity and self-worth. Confronting issues with sexual performance and libido. I think that's it. And actually, I'm gonna go through with some of my free flow notes to this now. But before that, can you relate to any of these? And there's two sides of this, or parts of this. So one thing is you can sit with it, you can maybe journal a little bit about, take some notes and go and reflect on this for the next couple of days. And if you are brave enough, if you have the courage, if you feel like it, I invite you to feel free to comment about this. I don't know, for many men that's a little bit challenging, but if you feel like it, please do. Please do. I know this is a big help opening up about it. And also when we open up about things, and that's what I'm doing here too, I know that that helps other men to also open up about these things. If we go through these, this is why I shared the complexity first. So now it's a little free flow on top of the agenda here. But the thing is that from the many men I've spoken with for the last few months, maybe it's 6 months now, I see that the areas that they are struggling with when I speak with them and as a coach and I sit and listen to them, it's actually these areas. Maybe they put other words into it, but here comes the big important thing for me to share from here. And that is when we are in our 20s, most men experience that we are very goal driven. Maybe it's changed, but at least in our age, when we was younger, many men experienced that. I was one of them. I had the new goal, the next goal, and I was really full of passion, full of drive and energy, and also libido to achieve those things. And then here in midlife, that's why I mentioned the complexity. We got, and research shows this, we got our muscles are shrinking, our brains are shrinking, our hearing is not as good as it was, our sight, our looking is not as powerful as it was. Our libido is decreased. Also, as I mentioned in one of the bullets here, many men also experience that maybe they are, or I say we because I see us as the brotherhood, we are in a relationship, but that relationship is not as it was some years ago. The passion might not be there. The libido is not there. And if we take the other things too, like maybe we lack a sense of purpose or direction, or we're not fulfilled in our career, and then we also got this relationship, and all of this is just a big pot of things that are not as they used to be. The health and fitness part, and this is very, very concerning for many, and maybe we are not clear about this because it's all just in a pot. And how we lived our life up till now, the results are here right now. And health and fitness part, well, it's like we don't have that energy anymore. We don't have that drive anymore. And data and research shows that's how it is. And again, if we don't have that, and we also are not sure what is our purpose now, what is the direction now, we don't have that drive anymore. We don't have the health to pursue it. If we even got a sense of purpose, does this make sense? It's kind of like it just makes it even more unfulfilling. And it's a bad loop. It's a negative loop. It's a spiral this way down, which leads to, for many men, and I know because of myself also, I was in a depression energy for a couple of years. I had an experience with a relationship, and I shared it in a video that made me crash and made me during years go into that depression energy. And as I said earlier in this video, then I woke up and I was like, wow, what's happening here? Why? Where's my strength? Where's my vitality? Where's my purpose? I was lost. And it's passion, if you feel me right now, if you feel the energy. Also, the financial insecurity, I've heard that, and this might be different from where you are in the world, but if I recall correctly, especially men from United States that I spoke with, but I also know that where we are right now in the time in history that inflation has been very high, and people feel this. And if we are trapped in an unfulfilling career, or our business is not working, or even maybe we sold our business and in many ways we did good. I did some years ago sell my own business, but still, if we are going to live 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever years ahead of us without the energy, without the passion, without the purpose, wow, think about it. That's not very fulfilling. And also, that's part of why the financial insecurity. Precious men, the relationship, I spoke about this. Then there's the aging part, and this is some of these, like I mentioned, it's kind of like it's all complex in a pot, the result of how we lived our life. But there's also the thing that I experienced this myself, that I was like, okay, my daughter's getting older now, and I know that within the next couple of years or maybe even months, she will she will be like a bird, so she will fly. She will be here, and I look very. I'm very again from here. I want to spend as much time with her as possible, but I also know that she's growing up. So this is a change also in life. I know that at a point I was thinking like, okay, if I'm going to be here for the next, I don't know how many years, and I feel my health and vitality and all of this is declining. I It was like a whispering. It was like it didn't shout to me, but I was like, okay, I'm a little bit afraid. And I looked at other men in their 70s and I saw how they walked and how they talked with their wife. And I was like, wow, is this the way I'm going? And then I understood that I'm not the only one. And again, it might be that it's not like a big voice saying these things, but it's like something in us just whispering, or maybe we don't even hear it, but somehow it is around us. Yeah, passions and hobbies. It's interesting, this one, because this is also something, if maybe you can relate to this too. If we look 20 years ago, well, at least when I grew up, and I'm 52, as I mentioned, probably you are experiencing the same thing. We didn't have the mobile phone, we didn't have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all of these things. So we were out playing, we were doing things outside. And today, the world is different. And one of these problems is that if you put that in the pot, one thing is if we speak about the young kids and how they are getting stressed by TikTok and the bombardment of all the info and things like that. But fact is that this is happening for men in midlife too. It's so easy to get distracted by, if we just look at the phone and we'll see, okay, and then the next thing, and then the next thing, and we just keep scrolling. And before we know of it, the whole evening is done, or we got Netflix and all of these things that was not there, at least when I grew up. Does this make sense? So the thing is that for many men in the pot, this is also something where we are getting caught up by all of these distractions. And that's part of the disconnection from what we could, how we could live our life, following our passions, doing something that we love doing something that makes us happy instead of sitting and scrolling. But I do know that it's kind of an addiction to sit with that phone or to watch that Netflix series when we start. I mean, and I'm kind of like, I say to myself, don't watch a Netflix series. And then one day I'm like, I need to watch something. And I look, and this Netflix series, it's just looking like, wow, I need to see this. Okay, I'm just going to watch one episode. But you know what happens? Then the next, because they're very good at ending the episode with, I have to watch the next one. Makes sense? But then after 5, 6, 10 hours, and maybe that chapter of the Netflix series is done, and I'm like, okay, is this making me more fulfilled? Okay, I enjoyed it, it was nice and all of that, but I could have done something else with my life. And then I know something happens for many also, that we begin to beat ourselves up. Maybe in the beginning loud, and maybe we're just like, I knew it. I'm just going to sit on the couch. I know I can't change this anyway. So coming back to feeling disconnected from passions and hobbies. And then all of this again, struggling with self-identity and self-worth, because if again we got the whole pot together, that if we don't have that sense of direction, of purpose, of fulfillment, of where am I going now, and put on top of that, we don't have the energy, we don't have the vitality, we don't have the tenacity, we can't remember things, we're not as clear as we was 20 and 30 years ago. That's part of the problem here. Does that make sense? So we're kind of like, okay, why am I here? And maybe we don't feel that we are worthy anymore. And maybe, I'm saying maybe because this is a deeper thing, and I'm going to share these things too. I learned a lot about this after my last relationship. Maybe if we feel we don't have self-worth, and this is deep, probably it's not something that just showed up in our midlife, but it was underneath all of that pursuing things. It was underneath all of the energy and tenacity we had earlier in life. And for some, when I spoke with them, they recognize the struggling with self-worth from their 40s, from their 30s, from their 20s, from their, what's that, 10s, from their teens, and from their childhood. And for most of us, I maybe even say all of us, it's from there. I'm going to share videos around that too. Then we have the sexual performance thing and the libido and how good are we in the bedroom. I mean, this is something that for many men is very difficult to speak about also, but it's also a fact for many men. I know that there are treatments and pills and creams and injections and all of these things. What I am talking about from my own experience is actually to find the natural way, because that way is much more fulfilling. So again, I'm not a doctor or anything, but I'm going to share in other videos what I did and how I helped myself to get out of the depression. But not only that, but also get into the purpose. I got my purpose now, and also get into a drive, get into passion, finding hobbies, get on dates again, living life. Let the spirit come out through me. So we are staying with right now, what's the concerns? Again, can you relate to any of these? So let's jump into part 2 here, the top 10 things men in midlife want. And also, probably already know this, but this is not a TikTok 30-second video. It's deeper. It's I thought about these things. I've spent some time in looking into it and also preparing myself to hopefully make you not resonate, but think about it, reflect on it. And if you feel, and you probably do if you're with me now, if you feel like this is you or part of this is you, then hopefully, as I said, or I would invite you to take a pen and some paper and take notes or begin looking into all of these things. So part 2, top 10 things men in midlife want. And you'll probably see that this is the opposite of what we spoke about before. Clear sense of purpose and direction, meaning, knowing what I want, something that I am walking towards. Even that's how I feel right now. Something that's magnetic out there. That I this I it's very difficult for me to resist. I just want to go over there, whatever that is. Optimal health and physical fitness. I've been a nerd around this for the past couple of years. Not only this, but I've really been nerding around this, and I've been testing the things that I looked into around health and physical fitness. I can say we got the psychology of it, what's going on inside our mental state, our emotional state, and the complexity of all of that, including our subconscious, all the things that we are not conscious about. Health and physical fitness. I can say that from my experience, the inside of us is very close related to the outside. I recall when I was in that depression state, I could not, there was no energy in me to go out and have a walk or a run or go to the gym or anything at all. There was just a Netflix or whatever I could find of distractions. It was very close, but men do want that. Most men do want that, and I can say for the men that I know from myself and other men that experienced that transition, the before and after, the life sucks or the life is beautiful, that when we begin to be in a better shape, and it is possible in midlife also, it might not be the same as in our 20s, but when we begin to be that, life is different. And I do know that there are men that are running marathons and all of these things, but I also do know that there are so many men that are not in the best shape of their life. But I do know that deep inside, many men from this top 10, they really do want it. And financial stability and freedom, who wouldn't want that, huh? Deep, fulfilling relationships. And this is a powerful one because if we are in a relationship, and this is from data and from research, many, and probably also for the woman then, but many, many men, they don't feel that fulfilling connection in their relationship. They don't feel the love. They don't feel the attraction anymore. They don't feel the passion, the excitement, and the intimacy. But they want to feel it. They want to feel it. And at the same time, there might be men who are not in relationships who want to have that feeling, want to feel that feeling. And obviously, now I'm speaking, this is the top 10 thing, but I do know that there's also men who just want that feeling with themselves, feeling the love with themselves. There was a huge one for me a few years ago, feeling the love to myself for the first time in my life. The next one, continuous personal growth and development, which, and I'm not going to dive too much into this in this video, but which is a very interesting because when I spoke about the pains and the frustrations in midlife, and it's all in a pot, the complexity, it's very interesting because the personal growth and development, when we begin to keep, and that can be reading or learning something, even watching this video or challenging ourselves, knowing what our purpose is, what our goal is, what our vision is, then we begin to walk, we begin to feel this, we begin to like going to the gym, but it's also up in the mind, and it's also when we begin to work with our emotional state. So I understand this. Emotional resilience and mental well-being comes together with the one that I just shared before. Supportive community and strong connections. I know this from men I spoke with who felt very alone, who, and many of them they were actually in a relationship, but they did not feel that they could speak authentic with their partner. Um, they didn't they they didn't feel understood, and maybe they were even afraid of if they really shared what's going on inside of them, they were afraid of the consequences. And the supportive community and strong connections, I know that for myself too. And this is split it because there's a part of being able to be alone with ourselves, like I say, love ourselves, but at the same time, having a community around us where we talk about our concerns, what's going on in our life, but in a growing way. So I'm not like yaggedy, 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 I'm feeling so bad and blah, 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 blah. That's easy to find, but a community where it's possible to inspire each other and listening to each other, where it's possible to be open and honest and authentic without being afraid of the consequences of it. Adventurous and exciting experiences. A powerful one. Maybe you remember in the, for you, I don't know, but maybe you remember in 20 or 30s that they're going on the next journey or having the next goal or something like that. This is something that many men have said that they really miss and they really want, bringing that adventure back to life, exciting experiences, career satisfaction and accomplishment. yeah, maybe this is very easy peasy. It's just very specific here. All of what I'm saying here is kind of like, and who I'm speaking with is kind of like men who is like, I'm not done yet. I know it might not be that easy right now, but I'm not done. There's more things. Maybe I don't know what it is, and maybe it's very complex now, but I'm not ready to give up. I want more. I want to be satisfied. I want to accomplish more. I want to enjoy life. Maybe that's you. And also inner peace and contentment. Who don't want that, right? Who doesn't want that? I think that's the way to say it. Can you relate to any of these? And there's one missing here, and that I think it was up here. Sorry for me just doing like this. Yeah, sexual performance and libido without the drugs. I mean, this is also something, again, I know this could be something that's not that easy to speak about, but even though we are in our 40s, or as me 50s, or as men in their 60s, still midlife, take all of these things together, the, like I said here, the adventures and exciting experiences. But what about an adventures and exciting and juicy sex life where we still are curious, where we still enjoy a partner, whether it's a long-term partner or a short-term partner, but just enjoying all of this. And we have the libido to do it. Part three, the one important step that has helped me and many clients. From what I just spoke about here, one important step that helped me and many clients, getting clarity. And getting clarity, it's kind of like picture that comes to me now is some years ago I did a training for my coaching business clients, and I said, okay, let's imagine that you have glasses on and the glasses are not the right fit for you. So it's blurry. So you look and it's all blurry. So, okay, where's my next step? Where am I going? And I'm feeling a little dizzy and all of this. And then imagine that you get new glasses that just came from the eye doctor, if that's the word for it, and it's just the perfect fit for you. That clarity, I remember when I got my first reading glasses and I put them on, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know that I couldn't see that much. That clarity, imagine having that clarity in midlife too. So getting clarity is one very important step. To get that clarity involves understanding your current situation, not like the whole part of it, but actually like, okay, this is the health fitness part, this is a relation, and all of these things. Makes it easier. You know, you make food and you put everything down and you taste it and it's like it is. But it consists of all the ingredients. And where you are, where I am right now in our life, it's the same thing. So understanding the current situation and also in understanding the ingredients in our current situation. And getting clarity is also about identifying what is it that you truly want. And then also creating a roadmap to achieve those goals. And that might not be a roadmap for the next 3 years, but it might be just a roadmap for the next couple of steps, or it might be just the next step, which was one of the things that was my first after my breakdown. One of my coaches on a very spiritual level who helped me said, just begin walking. I said, but I don't know where. It doesn't matter. Just begin walking. So that might be, but when we have an idea what it is that we want, when something is calling for us, then begin to take the first steps. And if it's possible, then the clarity, creating a roadmap to achieve the goals, the vision. And I hope all of this makes sense to you. And I just wanted to share this. I've been looking forward to it. It's also actually, I didn't share this in the beginning, but it's also a first step in what I'm sharing here, because I got two different things where I help people, where I help men. And this training is the first part of that new step. It's the first part of a chapter, next chapter for me and the men that I'm helping. So there's two options if you want to take this a step further, if you want to get help in your life. There's the free and there's the paid. So the free help, I've just finished today, actually, as I speak now, an updated version of what I call the midlife assessment. And it's kind of an assessment to do to get the clarity. I finished that updated version, and you can actually get this for free in our free community for men in midlife. So if you want to do that, you can just join the group. And there's a question, and if you want the midlife assessment, then just we'll make sure to tag you inside of the group if you want this assessment. And you can also join the free group for support and for resources about all of this for men in midlife, only men in midlife. I just added the photo here so you can see and recognize this. Paid help, I have just launched, and it's totally new. I'm just building in, and as I mentioned, this is kind of one of the first trainings in the setup, a brotherhood for men in midlife. You can get in this. There will be access to exclusive trainings, teachings, brotherhood, and also life calls. I did a lot of trainings in the free group, actually once per week, and I'm going to put all of those trainings inside the paid community. So there will be access to all of these trainings. And right now, it's available at a very low price, and that's because I'm building it. So totally transparency here. It's very cheap right now, and it's very easy if it's not for you to get out of it. That's not it for me. It's just to help and have one place where I can put up my trainings and teachings, and also a place that's a brotherhood. So I just took a screenshot of it, some of it as it looks here. So this is what's going on inside of, or what will be built inside of this community. And to both of these options, the free and the paid one, I will make sure that there are links in the description below of this video. So thank you for joining today, for joining this training. And also remember that midlife is not the end. It's actually a new beginning. That's how I see it. And for me, it's about, and maybe you too, you can put it in the comments if you feel like this. Let's make the next years the best ever in our lives. This video, this training was dedicated to complexities of midlife. If you want to understand more about my personally breakdown and what brought me to do these videos, then you can click here, and I made a video just about that. Thank you for being here.